Perspective now and head over to Stephen Olikara. He's a former U.S. Senate candidate in Wisconsin. He's also a senior fellow for political reform at the USC Schwarzenegger Institute, as well as the founding CEO of Bridge Entertainment Labs. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Polo. Great to see you.
Of course. Stephen, we know it's a very long night here. What do you make as a former Democratic candidate in the state of Wisconsin? What do you make of the numbers? I mean, it was not supposed to be as close a race as it's turning out to be.
Yeah, Polo, this is an upset of the upset as David Crowley is on the verge of making a major comeback. So Francesca Hong, she's a Democratic socialist who came in as an underdog to be the front runner in this race, running on a far left agenda, but also taking on AI data centers. That became one of her signature issues, really built quite a following around that. But as there is a shakeup in the race, two lieutenant governors dropped out. David Crowley came back into the race after having suspended his campaign. And the governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, took a massive political swing in not only endorsing Crowley, but campaigning with him. And they were on a massive barnstorming across the state over the last week and a half. And tonight we stand at a point where David Crowley is likely on the verge of making history and will have massive implications, not just for this fall, but also for 2028.
So if David Crowley does in fact advance to the primary, Stephen, just curious if you can give us a preview of what that matchup would look like. I mean, what would make him, as we heard just a few minutes ago from some of our other political experts, what would make him more of an ideal scenario for Wisconsin Democrats versus Hong?
Well, instead of having a race that was about cultural issues like canceling Thanksgiving and abolishing prisons that I think would startle a number of voters in the middle who come out to vote in the general election but may not vote in primaries, the entire structure of the race has now changed, likely, if Crowley pulls off this win, where it now focuses on economic issues and affordability, because President Trump is underwater on economic issues. His Iran war is extremely unpopular. The MAGA brand, according to the latest polling in Wisconsin, is about 15 to 20 points underwater. And so now this will be a little bit more of a referendum on the Trump administration, but also David Crowley being able to talk about his record as Milwaukee County executive. He has built a reputation as someone who's been able to reduce homelessness in the county. The Journal Sentinel has done a lot of reporting on that in the state. And so he's going to be able to talk about more of these pocketbook issues as to some of the more far-out cultural issues that would have been the case with Francesca Hong. So now this is just a massive political earthquake tonight, Polo, because the race for governor now has changed from being an advantage for the Republicans if Hong pulls it off to now likely an advantage for Democrats with David Crowley poised to win tonight.
We haven't yet heard from David Crowley yet. We saw at his campaign headquarters essentially taking down the stage, potentially waiting for a few more hours when they have a better sense. What did you make, though, of Hong's statement when she addressed some of her supporters late Tuesday night?
Well, first, the energy going into the room, this was at a music hall in Madison, Wisconsin, was just off the charts, just absolutely electric, because the Hong campaign was positioned to make history. There had never been a Democratic Socialist nominee for governor, and she really built a movement of young people and liberals across the state. But then people started to notice the race was changing and she wasn't pulling the numbers she needed to deliver in Madison, which is her home base. And so when she came out on stage, she didn't concede, but it sounded like a concession speech. She didn't have the energy of someone who felt like she was going to win. I think she was probably processing in real time this incredible turn of events. Now, David Crowley, he was waiting for the Milwaukee ballots to drop. There were some outstanding, about 28,000 outstanding absentee ballots. Those have now been processed and they've gone in Crowley's favor. but I think was too late for him to do a speech. So look in the morning for him to deliver a speech. David Crowley is an extraordinary communicator, and so I encourage people to tune in because I think he will basically lay out his case for the general election, and then there will be a unity breakfast that actually is now turning into a brunch for Democrats to show that they're united as they go into the general election.
Yeah, my colleague Alex, who I know you had some great conversations with in the last hour, put it best. I mean, there's a lot we're going to be learning about him in the next few hours, especially once we get to hear from him. Stephen Olikara, thank you so much for staying up late for us and continuing with your analysis as we wait for a potential projection coming out of Wisconsin.
My pleasure. Welcome to Wisconsin politics, Polo. It's a little wild.
I do love the great state of Wisconsin. Thanks again, Stephen.